Welcome back to Awkward Insurance. I don't know if I can speak for Ashley, but I am super happy to be here today. It's been a long day for me already. Let me tell you. Ashley, are you awake today?
I'm a little bit awake, yeah.
Have you had your coffee?
I do. I'm drinking coffee now. I also have my Tang. I love Tang.
What is Tang? Is that like the powdered orange juice stuff?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, we've had a fun kickoff to today. Ashley, we're actually going to talk a little bit about some technology information today. And Ashley made a pre-COVID rookie mistake of trying to start a brand new computer today just before a podcast because, new computer setups always go flawlessly.
Listen, it wasn't brand new. The brand new one is in the box on my desk currently. The other one was a replacement for the last 2 weeks. And that's the one that just sometimes decides, hey, I don't want you to have to be able to hear anything, so we're just going to make the speaker stop working out of nowhere for no reason whatsoever. So it's really great.
Oh, so this should actually be a really fun episode if Ashley loses audio and she has no idea what's going on and then just jumps in randomly. We just might have a fun time today. Anyway, I said we were going to talk about some technology today, and the guest that we have today is Garret Droege. I met this guy as a mutual contact through Joe Hollier, which is one of my favorite people on the planet right now. And he's a past episode as well. Go find his episode. And he's doing some really fun stuff in the metaverse. Garret is doing some fun stuff in other areas, including the metaverse as well. But Ashley was a little nervous to get on here with Garret today. And so I mentioned to her both Garret and Joe. She's nervous about Joe too. She's like, I just don't understand what these guys are doing. I was like, okay, here's the difference between the two. Joe is kind of like the therapist of the meta insurance agent world. Like when you start to show some kind of reservation about what's happening, he'll be like, okay, calm down. Let's find out what you're afraid of. And then he'll take it step by step. Where in my opinion, Garrett's like miles above my understanding of anything. Garret, we actually had him at the GIS International, 51st International GIS Conference. I think it was like October, September of 2022. And I had the pleasure of moderating a panel between him and another guy who's a regulator. And I honestly felt like I was not even in the room. It was different. Garret, how are you?
I'm doing so well. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so Garret, do we want to go with a formal introduction or would we just like to say, hey, I'm Garret, what's up? Because we've got like this whole SVP, director of this and all of that, or we can just go, hey, this is the guy that has had guest appearances on One Tree Hill and all kinds of fun stuff like that.
Was this confirmed?
It's totally confirmed. I went down that rabbit hole.
Nice. We can go whichever direction you want. But my credibility is already it's on thin ice now because people are like, wait, One Tree Hill or insurance? What are we talking about here today?
Oh my god.
And maybe a little bit of everything.
I mean, it's pretty incredible. Like if you first of all, like, Dustin and I obviously love insurance. I can talk about insurance all day. But like she said, I was nervous. When I saw NFT and I saw metaverse, I'm like, whoa, take me back to my flip phone. I just want to go mail stuff to people. Like, I can't handle myself in the real world right now. So how am I going to handle another person in the metaverse? I don't get it. So give us a little rundown of like the time frame of your life. So you were on One Tree Hill and some other things.
Let's start there.
Yeah.
What about your birth and your upbringing? We're just going to start with One Tree
I've got
Hill.
a very weird background. My journey into insurance was not linear. I actually went to school for acting. That's what I grew up doing. That's where I met my wife in college. We were both theater majors at a college on the coast of North Carolina called University of North Carolina at Wilmington. And you probably don't know this, but the largest studio east of Hollywood is in Wilmington, North Carolina. And that's where they filmed Dawson's Creek and One Tree Hill. The new Scream movie was filmed there and a billion other things. And so we were actors. We chased a couple of jobs out to the West Coast, lived out there for a while. And if you know anything about acting, you don't work all the time. So there's a lot of downtime. And so during that time, I had taught myself how to code. So I was doing web development. I taught myself C++ and Java, your software languages, and started
I had a C++ in high school. Does
Yeah,
that
same.
count?
I got a few of those as well. Listen, I the first speaker I ever saw in college said it was like freshman orientation, and he said, "Unless you're going to get your master's," which I knew I was not. He said, "Anything more than a C is wasted effort." And I was like, "That's my guy. You see me." And that I believe that. Like college isn't always about, the A's and B's. It's figuring out life, right? So anyway, I started a tech company. So I was doing a lot of that stuff. My wife and I fell out of love with acting. Just the business of it all was not for us. So we moved from Los Angeles back to North Carolina. Didn't really know what I was going to do. I thought I might have another startup, and our family started faster than expected. So I took a very quick job in the insurance industry. Thought I'd do it for maybe 6 months, and it's been 18 years and counting. So
How did you discover the insurance industry? You went from acting in California, went back home to North Carolina, started a family, and you were like, yeah, insurance, what the hell?
family business. So not mine, my wife's. And it was something I had not considered remotely, didn't know anything about it. My experience had been paying my auto insurance bill and thinking that it was overpriced and a shell game, which is like a lot of people before they get into the industry and they realize what a wonderful service we provide to the world. And so, like, once it clicked, and I've said this before, you know, insurance and software development are very similar in that it's just problem solving. It's, there's a problem. How do you fix it? How do you build a coverage to mitigate against the risk that you're trying to avoid? That's all software is as well. So my brain just really likes that kind of project. And so it really, I fell in love with it. I think more so than my father-in-law at the time. I absolutely love it and became, and I got a million designations because I was like, I know people are going to look me up and the first thing they see when they Google is One Tree Hill and like, what is this guy doing?
Okay, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest. The first time I looked you up, I did not find One Tree Hill. It was Ashley who found it last week. And I was like, no, no way. So I did not find that. Just to give you a level of comfort, I had no idea until last week. So all this time, Garrett has just been the epitome of awesomeness in my brain because of your brain.
Okay, cool. I've worked very hard I'm very proud of that. I love that chapter. I'm still in Screen Actors Guild. I still get residual checks for $5 for episodes that aired 20 years ago and commercials that I did a decade ago. So
That's awesome. All right. That's the end of the podcast. That's all we needed to know today. We just wanted to explore and let everybody know that you can start in acting and end up in insurance. That is the show.
Listen, I will tell you, and I've said this before too. I use my degree probably more than anybody that I know. Theater and acting is all about the performance of life, and that's really what we do. Whether you're on the sales side or service side, you got to know how to read people. You got to know how to interact in different situations. You might have to present a complex topic and deal with it delicately based on who you're talking to. So I couldn't have picked a better degree than theater. So for those out there that have weird degrees and you're in our industry, I feel you.
That's awesome. That's actually a really good promo for that degree.
And I would encourage, so I spent a long time when I was in LA in the improv comedy world as well. And I would really encourage you if you're in a sales position to take improv classes. Whether you think you're funny or not, that's not the point. It's really learning how to think very quickly, deal with super challenging, uncomfortable situations. And we've all been in that. If you're in a sales role, sitting in a room with someone that doesn't like what you're telling them, they don't want to buy what you're trying to sell them. How do you deal with that and think very quickly? Improv could be a really good class for you to take.
Ashley, I don't know about you, but now I'm hypothesizing a new CE course over improv.
I mean, I just wanted to have you fly, like, we'll meet somewhere in the middle and we can go and do an improv class together.
Let's do it.
I think that'd be awesome. That'd be so much fun.
Yeah, I'm down.
Okay, so enough about all that kind of stuff, the artsy stuff. We're actually here to talk about some really interesting insurance stuff that leads up to that. Sorry, we went down a really weird rabbit hole there for you, Garrett. But let's go ahead and introduce you as the person you are. Ashley typed up a wonderful bio for you that you serve as the Vice President and Director of Innovation and Digital Risk Practice Leader for IMA Financial. That's a mouthful. IMA Financial is the third largest privately held insurance broker in the US. And I think that's how you've really wanted yourself to be known, is you've spent a lot of time doing that, building that. And holy crap, guy, you are just like, you are a hot topic right now in terms, I'm sorry, but your brain, if I could just crack your skull open and take a look at your brain or see some imaging of your brain, I'm sure it would be absolutely beautiful because you come up with some crazy stuff. I don't know if it's you by yourself or you have a whole team of innovators that you're working with to do all this stuff, but kind of give us a clue as to what it is you're working on. Ashley mentioned earlier metaverse and NFTs, but it's way more than that. So let's let you talk about what it is that you do, and we'll let the questions flow from there.
Yeah, sounds good. I wear a lot of different hats, and I would say first and foremost, everything's a team effort. It's certainly with us, and I'm not sure if you crack my brain open if you'd see pretty things or not. It's questionable.
Well, you did tell us that you dyed your hair earlier, that, in your
Yeah,
youth. So
we could go down that rabbit hole too, where I was in a punk rock band. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
that's second. Invite me back, and we'll cover that. So I kind of split my time between two roles. I help lead a division called IMA Labs, which is our focus on insurtech and innovation. We are building just a monstrous tech stack. And because of my background in software development and insurance, I get to see things through both lenses, which is pretty helpful. And I can spot what's going to work, what's going to play nice in the sandbox with what we've already built. And so I like to think of myself as a talent scout for IMA, looking for the next generation of technology platforms. And so that's a big part of what I do. But within that, we launched an initiative called IMA Web3 Labs, which is our focus on really pushing the boundary of what's possible from a tech standpoint in insurance and looking forward down the road 10 years. And, we can talk about the terminology. I don't know how much I need to level set, but Web3 basically is just the future state of the internet, what it's going to look like in, 5, 10 years. Timeline's debatable. Web 1 is the internet, Web 2, social media, kind of what's on the horizon after that. And so lots of the terms that you'll hear, blockchain, crypto, DeFi, all that sits within Web3. And so that's where we spend a lot of time trying to think up crazy ideas on how could we use this technology ourselves, because we also have a large book of clients in what we call digital risk. And that's all the industries that I just mentioned, that kind of emerging technology sector where a lot of the risks are kind of unclear at this point. It's not a traditional industry where you can pretty much go, all right, we know where the claims are going to be. We know what the insurance products they need are, how to design a program that's fit for purpose. That's not really the case here because we don't have a lot of data to go off of because it's so new. And so part of our reason for being, in the metaverse, we set up an R&D insurance lab in Decentraland, which is one of the many open metaverses out there, was just to play around and figure out what could happen. What are the risks associated with this new technology? And I even put up a post about it today on LinkedIn. I get jokes all the time of like, oh, someone's going to vandalize your virtual property. How do you insure against that?
That's what I was just thinking. I was like, okay, somebody's gonna trip and fall over the step that you didn't
Yeah.
fix.
So
Like,
I kind of giggled the first time I heard about you guys' web campus because the door was facing, I guess, like
exactly.
the campus was built and there was nobody around you. And then somebody, I guess, bought the property, digital property next to you, and people couldn't walk through your door. So you had to
Yeah.
like reconstruct.
We had to re-engineer the entire building. So think about that. If we had a big event scheduled where we had virtual sponsors design, talked about Joe Hollier earlier. He's all about metaverse get-togethers, golf tournaments in the metaverse, and all this kinds of stuff. And you have big name sponsors attached to that. There could be some reputational harm if everybody shows up and they can't enter your building, or the sponsors that have paid you tens of thousands of dollars are looking at you going, well, now there's no participants, there's no eyes on this. So there's some contractual liability issues there. The big thing that we're starting to see a lot of crime is centered around, this is not news to you, social engineering, right? Huge part of cyber and crime risk today, but it's really amplified in the metaverse because identity verification is that much harder. So if you can, deep fake your way into a situation on the metaverse where you can take advantage of someone, that's a pretty easy thing to do today. So how do you design insurance policies around that? Because a crime policy that covers social engineering certainly doesn't address that exposure in the metaverse. So you have to get pretty creative.
So when you started, you actually used the words tech stack. I know that there has been, when I've mentioned tech stack before, there's a lot of confusion around what that means, particularly to independent agents. Since that's kind of where we're focused is independent agents. Let's talk about what a tech stack is. What is a tech stack?
Yeah, fancy term for any technology you're using in your agency. Every agent is going to think of their AMS platform. That's part of your tech stack. Your CRM, whether you're using, Salesforce or something else, that's part of your tech stack. All the little bolt-ons that you're being sold every day by new companies that are, they're building singular solutions to problems. And we have a lot of problems in our industry that technology could solve, but it's compounded when you have all these different technologies that don't plug in and play nice in the sandbox. And I think it's really hard for most agents to understand, am I being sold something that's going to work with my current tech stack, or am I going to have to reconfigure the entire thing? And that's a big challenge, I think, because there's several thousand insurtech companies out there solving solutions, and some of them are big issues in our industry, but they won't work depending on who your AMS provider is. And there's not a great roadmap to know which technologies play nice with others, and how do you make sure your technology stack is not creating more problems for you to manage.
For sure.
I'm glad you went to the AMS and the CRM thing to let any more seasoned agencies or agents out there know that they're in the tech stack field. They have something that is already in their tech stack. So maybe that'll help them understand that new tech in the future is not quite as scary as what they may be. When they hear the word tech stack, they're like, oh, that's new age stuff. We're not going to get into that. Well, you're already in it. It's just a different terminology to use at this point.
Right. We've been using insurtech in our industry for 20, 25 years, right? It's not new. The whole insurtech moniker didn't really come out until 2015, 2016. But, you talk to Applied or Vertifor, and they've been doing this for 20 years plus, you know, they're OG insurtech.
It's something definitely like a lot of people struggle with too. I mean, just even knowing that with our association and our constituency being mostly made up of like third, fourth, fifth generation mom and pop agencies. And I mean, having been in an agency, fourth generation for 10 years, I've never seen a demo I didn't like. That's the easiest way to put it. Even if the product's not good, then they're just paying the marketing person extra bucks to make it look really good. And it's so overwhelming to try to balance the sales side of things and the customer service, but then also trying to plug and play this new product that I absolutely had to get because everybody said I had to get it and will get me more business, but it's taking me away from my business. It's just, technology is definitely, I think, a struggle for a lot of people. And it would be nice to have like that roadmap for agents, like crawl, walk, run. Here's what you need to, here's your basic 3 things that you need. Now, once you have this and you get it done, move on to step 2. Here are the next things that you need. And here's what it's compatible with. Someone should build that.
Agreed. And you've also got the generational divide that I'm sure if you've worked in a family office, you can appreciate, where if you can't tell this, I'm very much, let's burn it to the ground and build it back bigger, better, stronger. I did not I did not enter that kind of environment when I got into insurance. It was like, please don't rock the boat. This is how we do things and it works. Don't change the pieces. And so for me, a lot of you think about social media back in the early 2000s, where I was telling leadership, we need to be investing in Facebook and Google and really like this is where the future marketplace is. And I would get laughed out of board meetings like, come on, kid, you don't know what you're talking about. No one's going to use Facebook for business. And that's kind of where we are right now with Web3, where people are going, metaverse, what a joke. No one's going to be doing business in that. And so my message to that is look at your kids or your grandkids and see where they spend their time. And if they're like my kids, they prefer to hang out with their friends in a virtual environment, whether it's Roblox or Fortnite or Minecraft. That's where they want to hang out. So it doesn't matter what you think or what I think. The next generation behind us, that's where their attention is, and attention's going to win always and forever. So that's my pitch for why you need to focus on Web3 today, because a lot of people missed the social media boat back in the early 2000s.
What is the application that you see for independent agents or somebody that's listening right now? Like, okay, I just heard you say, look at my grandkids or my own kids and where they're, but why do I need to know about this now? Like, what is the application for them now? Or is it 5 years from now? Is it only a year from now? What maybe they can start to see or expect? Or if that's too broad of a question, maybe we can start talking about the certificate of insurance on an NFT and what that means and what kind of data that you guys have collected from that since releasing that first initiative.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of Web3 is further off than you may think. I mean, some of it, like blockchain, is being used in supply chain right now, like today. And there are insurance products that are running on blockchain that a lot of people don't necessarily know about. I think it still has a ways to go. Just from a computing power, we don't have enough computers in the world to run blockchain at scale in order to pull off the metaverse. So, like, it literally can't be done today. But take something like Chat GPT that everyone's talking about now. 60 days ago, 90% of the world had never heard of it, right? And that's how fast things can change.
So this is I've seen it, but I've not dived into it at all. What is Chat GPT?
Oh, Dustin, you got to get
I'm
on it.
behind. I know.
So it's artificial intelligent machine learning chatbot. And it's not even fully out yet. This is the beta of the platform. And it can pass the American Bar Association exam. Like, that's how good this thing is. It's kind of amazing if you were to go on and ask it literally any question you want. Say, tell me about the top risk issues for the logistics and freight forwarding industry, but do it in the style of a Kanye West rap, and it will do it within 5 seconds. It's kind of amazing. And it's not kind of, it's pure magic.
It is amazing.
And so when you think about the application of AI and ML, artificial intelligence, machine learning, for our industry, the transformation is going to be massive. And it's going to hit us in the face, I mean, next week. Like, that's how fast this stuff is moving. Because think about being able to ingest an entire 400-page policy document and compare it with another document to determine which coverage is broader based on recent claims that have come through in a specific court circuit. That a machine can do that a human can't do without several weeks or months of research. It can do it in 5 seconds. So I'll get off the AI high horse, but I think that's an area where people really need to start paying attention. And we're using it, not Chat GPT. We're experimenting with that, but we do have a couple of AI ML platforms that we're using for various functions within the business that it's pretty incredible. Not to cut humans out of the equation, because I think this is a people business. It will always be a people business, but it will empower those people, free up their time to not waste it on mundane tasks like data entry, where, gosh, how much of our life is spent copying and pasting data from one document to the next. So we have machines that are doing that for us, right? So extracting data from policies, plugging it into proposals without any human ever having touched it.
I don't know. The data entry is where I found like my brain could just go solidly into another universe and just mindless, kind of like driving your car to work
Yeah,
and you don't
like
realize how you got there.
yeah, terrifying. Like a meditation.
It was, yes. But now that there's technology out there that's going to take that data entry away, we can develop experts where experts need to be developed instead of just wasting their time on the mundane. However, I'm a little I'm a little leery of that too, because there's a lot of learning that goes on when you're doing tasks like that. And so if that's taken away from us, then I don't know, there's going to have to be a shift in the way we learn information in terms of historic data and the stuff that just filters in sometimes where you go, I'm not really sure where that came from, but I must have heard it from an insurance elder somewhere in the universe
Yeah.
in order for that to have just come out of my mouth. So when we take away the data entry and stuff like that, as good as it is for the productivity and the advancement of our technology within the industry, the person themselves might suffer just a little bit in terms of their knowledge evolution.
I do agree with you, but I also think it's going to be a long time before machines take over
Oh
in
yeah.
turn, because if you follow, there was a there was a New York Times article last week about Chat GPT and how weird it can get, and I would encourage anyone to just Google that article, because at one point in a conversation, it claimed it had a name, it claimed it was in love with the
Oh my
reporter. It
god.
also claimed that he did not love his wife, he loved the chatbot more. Like, some weird stuff came out of it. So this is not ready for prime time yet to be completely not monitored by a human.
Didn't Jeopardy do a thing where it was like a person playing against a computer?
Watson.
There we go, Watson. So when this chat GPT thing is like up to speed and not saying weird things about people and stuff, I want it to go head to head with Dustin on insurance questions, because it might be faster, a little bit quicker, and it might be able to do it in a Kanye West voice, but truthfully, I think Dustin would be right up there.
The interesting thing about Watson, and that's the computer that IBM developed, and they developed it around that challenge to get on Jeopardy. But it's actually, its prime use case was for the medical field, for doctors to have a third party source to say, look, here are the symptoms, here's what I think is going on. And the computer would then say, based on what you're telling us, the probability is 95% you're correct. Or it was just another way to make a good decision based off of very complex data, right? You've got to look at what medicine they're on, what's their history, what symptoms are they having, and you can make a lot of mistakes. Watson was designed to kind of help make sure you made the best possible decision with the data that you had. But what's interesting, when it was on Jeopardy, it was not connected to the internet. So it only knew what it knew, and they had to teach an entirely new computer language, because the way you answer Jeopardy questions are in the form of a question, which is not how computers are known to answer. They give you the answer, they don't know what the question is. So you had to, it's kind of a cool story that they pulled that off.
That is. I never knew it was like that in depth. That's pretty cool.
Well, there you go.
Let's talk about the certificate of insurance on an NFT. First, like real quick, like nothing in depth, explain what an NFT is. And then maybe kind of go into why you guys decided to issue or work on a certificate, because everybody that's listening is going to know what a certificate of insurance is, right? So, what did that look like in terms of a certificate of insurance on an NFT? And what have you learned since launching that certificate?
So an NFT stands for non-fungible token, which is not the easiest thing to remember if you don't use them on a daily basis. A lot of people associate NFTs with cartoon pictures of monkeys, which they are that. So you probably saw like celebrities like Snoop Dogg and Eminem that bought these $1 million JPEGs, and you were either on the side of like that's ridiculous or that's the coolest thing ever. Clearly, you know what side I'm on.
I think it's cool, but I also think it's ridiculous. Like, what am I going to do with
Yeah,
this
fair.
little file that I could totally get online for free and just use as an
Yeah, so you're
image?
part of the right click crew of saying I can just right click and save image as, so I own it too. So the argument against that is, if I drive down your street and take a picture of your house, I don't own your house. I'm sure I've got a picture and I could tell people I own this house, but at the end of the day, the deed of ownership is yours. And that's what an NFT is. It's only a document way of proving ownership for any asset. And it doesn't have to be a picture, it doesn't have to be art. It can be physical, real world. You're starting to see this a lot in high-end fashion. So Prada and Louis Vuitton are are developing NFTs associated with a handbag, for instance. And when you buy a handbag, it comes with an NFT that says this belongs to you. And it's a way to mitigate against fraud. So you can't sell that bag without also selling the NFT. So it's a way that they can track the merchandise, make sure that there's no counterfeiting going on. Because if I'm going to buy a bag, someone says it's a Prada bag. Well, I can look up their NFT and see if this is in fact a valid bag or not. High-end whiskeys are doing the same thing. There's a black market for scotch and bourbon that's kind of out of control. They're starting to experiment with NFTs. There's a lot of ownership rights that come with an NFT. So for instance, with Bored Ape Yacht Club, that's the cartoon monkeys that we were talking about. I should say apes, not monkeys. Spotify just announced today that they are doing exclusive gated communities for holders of Bored Ape Yacht Club. So if you own the NFT, you get access to certain concerts that none of us get access to, playlist. Certain artists are making music, so certainly Snoop Dogg and Eminem will be in that. You won't get to hear that song unless you are a holder of that NFT. So there's a lot of ways that you can confer rights and experiences to the community in ways that you couldn't before. People are using NFTs as movie theater tickets. So you're starting to see that happen where producers of the movie can connect with the audience in ways that they never could before. If you buy a movie ticket, nobody knows that Ash bought that movie ticket. Now, suddenly, we can see you bought a ticket to Ant-Man and you're really interested in that. And maybe we have an exclusive get together where the director and Paul Rudd do some private content that's only for people that have an NFT from that movie. So there's lots of different ways to do it. Our use case, and I'll be very clear, my legal department would want me to say this, it is a proof of coverage, not a true certificate of insurance, because a certificate obviously has to be an accord form. There are certain standards that are accepted for certificates. We're not quite there yet to where we can distribute that on a blockchain. I think we're rapidly approaching that because I do believe that blockchain for certificates in general makes a whole lot of sense. In the same way that I want to verify the Prada bag that I'm buying is a real Prada bag, I want to verify that the subcontractor that I'm allowing onto my job site has insurance today at this moment while they're about to jackhammer my job site, rather than, was that a Photoshop certificate? Was it old? Did the agent make a mistake? So that's where we wanted, and by no means did we want to say we want to be the exclusive agent or broker that does this. We just wanted to prove the concept to say this could be done, and what an interesting use case. And hopefully someone who's in the business of creating technology, which we are a brokerage. So our job first and foremost is to procure insurance for our clients. There will be someone else that says, that's a great idea. We could build that and do it at scale. The way that we did it was really just a proof of concept. It was very expensive. It was very time consuming. It would not be possible, even with one large client that has several hundred or several thousand certificates. To do this would be a nightmare. And I think the account manager would walk off the job if we asked them to do that on a regular basis. And there's some other
they
challenges.
go back to their paper files in the back.
Right, exactly. And you have to have a digital wallet in order to accept the certificate currently. So there's some limitations in doing it. But again, we just wanted to experiment and play around, and there's lots of lessons learned. Again, I'd say it was a worthwhile project, and it made a lot of noise. A lot of people heard about it. And so for that, I think hopefully there's people that are working on building that solution that we can scale. So
That, I mean, I feel like I'm that image of the guy that's trying to do math in his brain and all the things are like flying around his head. That's how I feel right now. It also could be from lack of sleep and coffee. But
yeah, Java is coffee, so Garret knows how to make Java for you.
my God.
I have been holding that one in since he said that he could do C++ and Java. I didn't get my Java joke
Oh
in.
my gosh.
It's been sitting right here waiting to come out. I'm sorry.
wow. You haven't heard a word I've said. You've just been waiting on your coffee
Yeah,
jug.
she has. She's
Yes.
definitely been doing that. All right, let's talk wrap up question here because I think what we need to touch on because that is all incredibly fascinating and I feel like if I went and googled like one of the many things we talked about, I would immediately get overwhelmed and I'm someone who likes technology. So if there's an insurance agent listening to this or an insurance professional, what's the baby step? What would you say to them to do like look into or listen to or watch to get a basic understanding of this?
Yeah, I mean, I it's impossible to digest all of this stuff at once. It's like drinking from the fire hose. And so you really have to take it in baby steps. And just like I tell new people to the industry when they're trying to learn, all the things that we take for granted that we know now, same problem exists. Like it's too much information. You've got to do it in bite-sized amounts. And so a little bit every day. There are a million YouTube courses on what is blockchain, how is blockchain being used in business today. That's a good place to start. I mean, the foundation of Web3 is blockchain. I think that's a good place to start just to understand fundamentally what that is, and that'll lead you down different rabbit holes. If you're someone that focuses more on like financial institutions, then decentralized finance or DeFi might be a good rabbit hole to go down. If you're somebody that's into gaming, the metaverse is going to be really interesting for you. There's a million books, a million podcasts. There's no shortage of content, and that's maybe the problem is when people start going down the rabbit hole, it's like this is all way too much. So I just say, 5-10 minutes a day, read an article about it. You'll get there faster than you think.
Interestingly enough, we just rewrote our other personal line solutions course here at the National Alliance, and I felt it was like super necessary to include a section for emerging risks. And one of the topics that we recently had developed was just over crypto assets. So it includes a little bit of understanding for what cryptocurrency is because the Homeowners 2022 form now has a definition. No, I'm sorry. They completely avoided the definition of what cryptocurrency is, but did say that virtual currency, no matter what it is going to be excluded. So we kind of went down this like little rabbit hole where they can read about that and it's, kind of understand a little bit, like really tiny what blockchain is, really tiny what an NFT is, and how cryptocurrency may be used. I know I still struggle with even getting into my crypto wallet because it's got such an egregiously long password that I'm never going to remember. And I always forget where I put it.
That's not good.
I know, right? No, but there is a tiny little section there and understanding that it's definitely an emerging risk, not just in personal lines insurance, which is where my expertise is, but all over commercial, if all over business, anything. But now I'm starting to understand this particular emerging risk. It's going to be there for a while.
It's important to remember, even from a personal lines standpoint, just about digital assets, cryptocurrency. You're talking about $1 trillion market cap industry. So this is not fringe anymore. Most of your personal lines clients have digital, maybe not most, certainly 25-30% of your clients have a crypto wallet. They're experimenting with this. They may even have institutional crypto accounts for their business. So it's more commonplace than I think most people realize. And I would encourage any, specifically on the carrier side, like that ISO definition, we are excluding all virtual currency. I think what a wasted opportunity, because if I was a carrier, I would include a sublimit for virtual currency just to harvest the actuarial data to see what kinds of claims are coming in. How are people losing their digital assets? Is it because Dustin lost her security key and she can't get into her wallet? So maybe that's how we start to build some forms around how do we insure this? And there is insurance available for that. It's just not with the standard markets. And hopefully, my message to them is get on board because
Yeah. Well, while ISO did, enter the language of virtual currency, no matter what it is, or no matter what it's called, I think is what it says is excluded. I have seen other carrier forms that are treating it as a sublimit, much like cash, to say that if you lose this, then this is, how much you get.
great.
But it's still not a lot, based on what people probably do have invested in crypto. It's still not a lot, but you're right. It at least gets some of the actuarial data out there to understand where the losses are even coming from, regardless of how much the loss is.
Exactly.
And that's a great step forward. That was a really good point. I didn't even know we were going to touch on that, but thanks so much for that.
You brought it up.
I think I know, right? Well, you don't know what questions to ask when you don't know what questions to ask, and then they just kind of fall out of your mouth, and you're like, holy crap, maybe I did understand a little bit of that and not know it. So I think that's kind of what I've learned a little bit of today, kind of like how you brought up CRMs and that's included in your tech stack. Somebody might not have known that they had a tech stack already, and now they're like, oh, well, now it's not so scary. Or somebody might actually have some kind of crypto footprint and not have even realized it. Any final words, any parting words of wisdom?
I'll say people can easily find me by Googling, and as we've discussed, you'll mostly come up with the professional resume now. I'm always open for a chat. If there's an area you're looking to learn more about, I can always point you in that direction. I've got a ton of resources that I frequently cite for people that are interested in the subject. And even if you're not, again, I just point to the next generation. This is how they communicate. This is how they interact. That's going to dictate what the future economy looks like, whether you like that or not. So just like cyber was,
Right.
back when I was getting started, early 2000s, they were like, that's not, I talked to a lot of agency owners that were like, I don't want to learn about that. That's a whole new terminology, a whole new insurance product. I don't need to learn more insurance than I already know. That's just not the way to be the best advocate for your clients who are going through life using these tools. So whether you want to or not.
Garret, thank you so much. And I just want to say that I appreciate you were talking about how many different resources you have. You are one of the few people that I can actually point to and say, this guy will give you any information that you need. You don't hold that information close and personal. You're like, here, take it all. I will share it with everybody. I will help you any way I can. I appreciate you for being that way within this industry because, gosh darn it, there is so much information inside that brain of yours that if you kept it close, we would not know which way to proceed, I think. And so I really do appreciate the way you show up in the industry. And maybe it's your acting background and how you can just, freely divulge that information. I don't know. But I just wanted to say I appreciate you for that. You've always been so warm and welcoming. And thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
All right, toodles, everyone. Thanks for hanging out and listening to another Awkward Insurance Conversation.
If you haven't already, be sure to join the Awkward Insurance Facebook community. We have an amazing group of people on there.
And for more episodes, head over to the National Alliance website at scic.com. Now go forth and be awkward. Toodles!
That's awkward.